Whoa, lovely stuff. Thanks for joining me again, guys. You're back with OHMonster, and today I've got a tank for you. The MuTank by Indulgence. Now, I purchased this from vapo.co.nz. You can too. So let's take a look at it, shall we? Alright then guys, so here we are up close with the MuTank by Indulgence. So this is a rebuildable coil and it does come with stock coils. Right, so you get some lovely packaging with this one actually, and it comes in 5 different colours. So red, violet, gold, black and stainless steel. I've got the stainless steel one, but there's some nice colour options you've got there. So on the back, as usual, you get a bit of spiel about the tank itself, your authenticity sticker and the manufacturer's website. So, pull this little tab. As I say, it's a nice little box. Get some instruction manual, which is always nice. And your quality pass with no information on it, which is pointless. And here's your gubbin. So we'll just take the tank out and put that aside for now. So inside, you normally get a replacement stock coil. I've already used the second one for this, but it does go in here. And it does come with one installed into the tank when you get it. So you get a replacement Pyrex tank, which is always good, and your rebuildable deck, which I'll pull out and show you in a second. And in here, you get a vape band. Again, nice touch. I've only ever really seen Smock offer vape bands before, so that's a nice touch. So in here, you've got your blue, you've got your single coil stopper, your 2 replacement tank. They're not O-rings, or rubber stoppers, which is actually quite a lot better than O-rings, I feel. And replacement O-rings for the rebuildable deck. And of course, replacement screws. Alright guys, so here's the tank itself. As you can see, that comes with the coil already built into the tank. Now that's, I don't know if you can see that, but it's a dual coil, so it's a dual single coil in there. And you can vape that from 30 to 150. I've given that a crack. It is fine to vape in that range. 150 cracks and pops like something rotten, but still vapes okay. It's quite spaced. I'll show you that in a second. All right, so you get stainless steel and stainless steel drip tip, but it does have a Delrin base, which is quite nice, so it stops that heating up too much. You don't have a chuff cap option with this, but obviously that is a 510, so you can fit your favourite drip tip in there if you wish. A non-adjustable silver plated 510. It's a nice engraving of Indulgence under there and MuTank. Now, so I'll start pulling this apart for you guys. So what's nice about this is the airflow ring is nice and tight. It doesn't lock though, it does just spin all the way around, but that does just pop off to make it easier to clean and to pull this tank apart. So you're not fighting against your airflow ring spinning, which is always good. And this is top fill. Again, that's a big one in my books. I love top fill tanks. It just stops you faffing about. And the threads on this are buttery smooth. Lovely and smooth. And they're not catchy or rough like they were a bit with the Griffin. I know a few people had some issues with the Griffin top cap, but this one is absolutely fine. I haven't had to juice this up or anything. This is all clean, there's no juice in here, and that just came straight off. The top fill holes could have been a little bit bigger. I mean, if you look at the Griffin, you've got pretty much all of this to fill it in, but they're nice and wide, so you can fit any of your pipettes or your bottle tips in there, no problem. So that's not really an issue. Now I'll pull this apart off camera, guys, because it is a little bit of a bitch when you first get this tank, as these rubber stoppers are really tight. You can probably see that on camera how tight pressed they are against the side of this tank. The first time I did get this tank, I did have to stick a screwdriver through here to crack it and to keep twisting it until it was a bit loose. So I'll do all that off camera and I'll show you this pulled apart. Alright guys, so that's all unscrewed. Again, I did have to stick a screwdriver through there again. So when you do pull this apart for the first time, I would recommend that you do put a bit of juice on that rubber stopper, just to let it slide and spin a lot easier. All right, so we'll put the base down for a second. All right, so here's your Pyrex tank and your top cap. So you can just push that out through the tank. So there's your chimney. So it's an all nice one piece. And these rubber stoppers keep it nice and tight so you're not having to replace O-rings all the time. And here's your base section. So here's your base, here's your coils. This does just unscrew from here, nice and easy. A nice chunky coil canister here, a bit like they do rival the TFV4 for size of coils, to be honest. They're huge, nice and chunky. And so we'll put the base down for a second. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you in there. Let me just readjust this light, see if I can get you a peek into this. No, so you're just going to have to take my word for it. In here it's a spaced dual coil. Now it looks to me to be around 6 wrap each, and there is a hell of a lot of cotton in there too. So this wicks beautifully, right? So I'm priming this, super easy. As soon as you drop juice, just make sure you do drop juice in that little hole as well, and just get this all nice and juiced up before you fill your tank up. Now, so you've got your base here. As you can see, you've got your positive lead there and your negative lead there with a nice rubber grommet. Now these do pull apart. I haven't been able to pull these apart, but as far as I can gather, you can't rebuild these. But hey, you don't need to. You've got a rebuildable deck. And the base cap. Okay, so this is where your airflow comes in. So your airflow obviously comes up through the bottom of the coil as standard. And again, you've got that nice rubber seal on the bottom instead of an O-ring. Keeps it nice and tight. Stops your juice from leaking. You don't have to keep replacing O-rings. Fantastic. Now that is just a little bit dirty down there, guys. That's not rust. So I obviously didn't do as good a job of cleaning it as I thought I did. Alright, so I'll show you the rebuildable decks. Alright guys, so you've got 2 rebuildable deck options with this. You get the one that comes with it, which is a 4 holes. So it's kind of like a a baby Twisted Messes situation here, which is awesome. So you're not having to fiddle around with a 3-post. You're actually getting 4 post holes in this, which makes building a lot easier. But there is also the additional option of the Velocity style deck, which is becoming very popular with RTDAs at the moment, which is cool because it's such an easy deck to build on. But this does come separately. You do have to purchase this separately. So here's a Velocity style deck that you can get as an optional purchase aside from the tank itself. Now, the only gripe I have about this is, well, there's 2 little gripes I have about this. One is the post holes are tiny. Could have done with being a little bit bigger. Well, the ones, I say they could have been bigger. The ones on the positive post could have been bigger. For some reason, the post holes on the negative are larger than the post holes on the positive. I don't know if you can see that very well, but why that is, I don't know. And also, you can probably see through on the negative there that the milling is not the best. Still pretty jaggedy in there. So if you do get yourself one of these guys, just make sure that you do run some wire through that or a screwdriver through that. Loosen up all that jagged metal in there and then give it a good wash. Last thing you want that to do is when you push your wire through, drop down in here and then you inhale it. That's not going to be a good day for you. Alright, so yeah, you got your positive post here, which is peak insulated just under there and on the positive pin there, and the negative is milled into the deck. Now the base itself is identical to the stock one you get, and the single coil plug that you get with the tank does fit in here also, but you do get one in a parts kit along with this deck. Sorry, just trying to look for it. Here it is. So you get grub screws. It doesn't come with the grub screws installed already for some reason, and you get another plug, and you get replacement O-rings as well. And sorry, I didn't put it back in the bag. You've also got a screwdriver. So the grub screws are flathead. They're not Allen key for whatever reason. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do now is go back to the original deck that you get with the tank, and I'll show you how to wick it, because it wicks a little bit differently. Alright guys, so I've thrown some cotton in here, as always, not too tight, not too loose. Now, the difference between this and, say, the Bellis or the Aromizer or the Griffin is, you'll probably notice there's a hell of a lot of cotton in here, right? And that's because you need it. So it's not like the others, where you just simply sit the cotton on the bottom of the deck. There's a different way of doing it with this one. Now I've tried to sit it on the bottom of the deck here and it floods, or it just doesn't wick properly, and I was getting dry hit city for a while. It took me a bit to work out the best way to wick this, but I think I've nailed it. So I'm going to show you, so you don't have to guess as much as I did. Now what you do is the holes in here, so you basically wick this like you would a normal RDA. So where you get your wick down the side and then fold it under, what you want to do is get the edge of your cotton and just tuck it under itself. It's going to be a pain in the ass. Alright, there we go. So yeah, tuck it down and in, and then fluff that back out so it fills that juice channel. Alright, like so. So I'll do the rest, but I'll speed it up so you're not sat there twiddling your thumbs. Alright, so that's pretty much there or thereabouts. Now you can spend a little bit more time on that than I have. Obviously I don't want to drag this on for too long, but that's the basic concept. So you want to be getting and folding it under itself and tucking it around the back. Alright, so we'll put the top cap back on for this. Now do this very slowly because it will start to bunch up. Just when you get that first thread on, successfully, there we go. Then start to tuck these in a bit so it doesn't get too crushed. Alright, and then screw it down the rest of the way. Alright, so now that that's screwed on nicely, obviously you want to take this top part off. Yep, just throw it over there. And just fluff it back up again. So you've stuffed it in so you can get the cap off. Now you want to be fluffing it out. Now guys, I know this is just a long and tedious process, but trust me, it's worth it. And to be honest, anything less than this just doesn't result in a good vape for these the rebuildable decks for these this MuTank. So give it a good fluff, maybe pull it out a little bit, tuck it back in. Just make sure that cotton's nice and fluffy because you don't want it too compact, or else it's just not going to wick properly. You want it as absorbent as possible. Alright, you can see we've just got a bit of fluff going on the outside. And you can, or you don't have to, but you can if you want. You can go inside and just pull these up a little bit and just fluff it around the coils. Again, just to make sure that that cotton's not too compact. And then it's going to soak up that juice nicely. Alright, so then we go ahead and we prime it and we juice it. So just grab a bottle of your favourite juice and just start off with the side holes. Put a drop on, leave it to absorb. Put a drop on. Alright, so once you've got those juice wells nicely juiced up, Just want to go in and just paint those coils with juice. There should be plenty of cotton in there for you not to worry too much about flooding this. Just a couple of drops on each side. That should be you good to go. Alright guys, and there we go. All juiced up, all coiled up, all wicked up. Alright, so we'll go back out, we'll have a little chat about it, shall we? Lovely stuff. Alright guys, so we've just been up close with the MuTank by Indulgence. Now, don't get me wrong, I like this tank. I do like it. I like the stock coils and such. And I would say it was a strong contender for the TFV4. The stock coils that come with those. The only thing is, the tank doesn't wow me. Alright, it doesn't really stand out to me. Not like the Griffin did. With the Griffin RDTA just sort of blew me away with the RTA section for it. Well, it is an RDTA. It doesn't come with stock coils. But the stock coils with this are very good. The ones that you get with it, the dual, just standard coils, are amazing flavour, great vapour, and just as thirsty as the TFV4s. You do get other stock coil options. You get twisted wire and you get Clapton as well. I'm yet to try those. I've got some Claptons on the way, so I'll try and update you guys on what the Clapton coils are like. But I can just imagine they're a lot more flavoursome than the standard ones. And you get a heap of different colour options for these rubber plugs as well. I think use yellow and pink and red and blue and green and clear and heaps of different ones. So you can sort of put whatever colour you want. You can customise it a wee bit, which is kind of cool. But like I said, didn't wow me. The reason it didn't was the rebuildable decks on these are fiddly, right? The wicking that you need to do on these, as you saw, is quite time consuming. With the other RDTAs you've got on the market, like the Griffin, like the Bellis, like the Aroma Miser, they're quite easy to wick and quite easy to get right. This, however, is quite easy to get wrong. All right, so hopefully if you've got one and you've been struggling to wick it, the up close helped you out with that, because it took me forever to figure out how to wick this properly. And to be honest, I'm still not overly satisfied with how it vapes. It might just be the build I've got in here. I might just have to go for a 3mm diameter instead of a 2.5. That can make all the difference, but we'll see. We'll see. I can update you further in the future on that one. But like I said, the stock coils on this are great. I haven't had a problem with them. I went through 2 of them. First one I went through pretty quickly because I did sort of burn it out. I was vaping on it quite hot. So I did knock it down to about 75 was a nice sweet spot for it, for me. But yeah, as I say, they've been performing fantastically. But the RTA section is just a little bit fiddly for me. We'll go into pros and cons. All right, we'll go into pros and cons. The one con for me was how difficult it was to pull this apart when you first got it. Now, that just goes to say that these rubber plugs are doing their job. They're keeping the tank on nice and tightly. It's not going to unscrew by accident and other bits and pieces. So it's, it's kind of a positive. But the fact that I had to stick a screwdriver through the air hole to crack it for the first time, and any time it doesn't have juice on them, a little bit of a pain in the ass, if I'm honest. But again, that's a subjective con. Once it's open and you've got some juice on there, it's easy to pull apart. Cons. The con mainly comes when you start building your own coils in this, for me. Like I said, with the wicking mainly, there's plenty of build room in there, right? So you can throw anything you want in there. I did try the single coil option and put an alien wire in there. And once I got the wicking right, it seemed to wick okay. I did lose quite a bit of flavour, which I was a bit disappointed about, considering alien wire is extremely flavoursome. I just wasn't getting the flavour I would expect from an alien in here. I'm guessing it's just because of the amount of cotton you got to pump into here and the slow wicking from it. But some of you guys might just have better luck with it. But for me, that was a major con, was the whole build deck, and I enjoy building my own coils and such. I'm not too keen on having to buy new coils for a tank these days, especially with the range of RDTAs that are out there. But yeah, the stock coils are good. Stock coils are good, and I'm only can assume that the Clapton ones and the twisted ones are just going to be better than the standard ones, so that's good. Pros on this one are the stock coils. The stock coils vape beautifully. They do crackle a bit, crack and pop, but that doesn't bother me. I kind of like that sensation when your wick cracks. I don't know why. It makes me feel more like there's some power going through it and there's some vapor being produced. It's weird. I am weird. I get that, but and that's pretty much it when it comes to pros for this. And that's all you really need from a tank, isn't it? Really, the stock coils work, and they do. All right. So, would I recommend this? If you're going to just stick to the stock coils, yes, I would recommend this. It's a great tank. It is a competitor for the TFV4 in my opinion. But if you're looking at building your own coils in a tank, you definitely want to be sticking with the Griffin or the likes of the Bellis and such like that. Especially the Griffin. The Griffin's probably the best vape out of an RDTA that I've come across yet. And I'm yet to come across one that beats it. But yeah, so I would recommend this if you're quite happy to just keep replacing your coils and you're not much of a build your own. Definitely. If you're a build your own, no, I'd say give it a miss. There's plenty of other better options for your kind of vaping out there. But hey, that's all I've got. Sorry it's been a bit of a long video, guys, but as you can see there was a little bit to go through. But yeah, as always, there'll be links in the description below on where to get the tank, the mod that I'm using, the cotton I used, the wire I used. As always, it'll be down at the bottom. But hey, thanks for watching, guys. I always appreciate it. Have a good one, and I'll catch you later. Frag out!